Good morning and welcome. This is Pastor Lucy Painter with your daily insight. Thank you for the feedback. It has been a wonderful week. We learned on discernment, and this is a new week, and we start a new topic titled Boundaries. Boundaries. The Bible says in the book of Proverbs 4:23, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. What is a boundary? A boundary is something that indicates or fixes a limit or extent. Another definition says a boundary is a line which marks the limit of an area. It's a dividing line. And in essence of what we are learning this week, I like both definition because we are going to focus on setting personal boundaries. And by setting personal boundaries, it means we are saying, we are drawing a line, we are fixing a limit. We are clearly communicating where the actions of another will reach the extent of our tolerance and thus divide them from us. When we set boundaries, they define our borders. And I know that we are very good at setting boundaries physically. When you get a property, we are there to know where the beacon is, where we get a surveyor. We want to know where our lines are. We want to know the borders of our property. And even in the nation right now, we've had the talk about building a wall and marking our borders. So we are not just talking about the physical boundaries, because we are able to do that. Mostly we are able to put a fence to protect our physical property from bad behavior. We erect a perimeter around our property, but this week we are going to focus on erecting a perimeter around our heart with good boundaries. So this is gonna be the focus of the week. Boundaries. It's an interesting topic. I realized that there was a time I didn't have good boundaries, and there was a time that people would even go to the extent of pushing the limit, and I'll feel frustrated. And then eventually I learned that it's because I have not set clear boundaries. And it's not just about setting boundaries, but it's also about guarding those boundaries, implementing those boundaries to ensure that nobody crosses that line. So remember, as we talk about boundaries, we are talking about a clear definition, drawing the line and saying, this is where the actions of another will reach the extent of our tolerance. Up to here I can tolerate, but more than this I will not allow. So we are going to focus on how we define our boundaries, how we define our borders, how we establish who we are, where we begin and where we end, because boundaries are very, very important if we are going to protect and to guard our heart. The Bible says in the book of Titus 2:14-15, and this is going to be one of our main texts, he gave his life to free us from every kind of sin. This is Jesus. He gave his life to free us from every kind of sins, to cleanse us and to make us his very own people, totally committed to doing good deeds. And then Paul is telling Titus, you must teach these things and encourage every believer to do them. And then he says you have the authority to correct them when necessary. So don't let anyone disregard what you say. So as we talk about boundaries, we are going to focus even on how our words, because words can also be boundaries. We'll get deeper and deeper into that, how we are supposed to implement those boundaries. This is Pastor Lucy Painter, and I am excited about what the Lord is going to teach us this week. And before I go, I have a question for you. You can respond by sending me a voice message, or you can even text me and tell me, do you find it easy to say no? Do you find it easy to say no. We are going to continue with this topic. Stay tuned, share the podcast with your friends, and I know that we are going to learn a lot. May God bless you. Shalom, shalom.